What should you do when you receive a notice from the IRS? Now, if you're not a tax nerd like me and you're the typical American taxpayer, you may not know exactly what to do when you receive a notice. So, in today's video, I'm going to cover 9 do's and don'ts for when you receive correspondence from the IRS. But before I jump right into that, let me go ahead and introduce myself to those of you that may not know. My name is Timalyn Bowens, and I am America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I'm licensed through the Internal Revenue Service to do tax preparation, planning, but most importantly, representation. I help my clients that are facing the IRS alone by stepping into their shoes and dealing with their IRS issues for them. I'm also the owner of Bowens Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions. I'm sorry, that's not our name anymore. We're no longer Bowens Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions. We're now Bowens Tax Solutions because we don't offer any other accounting services. We focus primarily on resolving taxpayers' IRS issues. So we are a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky, providing tax relief not only to Kentucky, but to all 50 states. So what I like to do is provide preventative measures so that you actually never even have to come to me. So again, we're going to go over 9 do's and don'ts when you receive a notice from the IRS. And I have notes here because I want to make sure I get all of these in for you so you don't have to be panicked when you do get that notice. Especially with the tax year 2019-2020, there were so many notices that went out during 2020 with the pandemic, and now even in 2021, taxpayers have received notices concerning the EIP, which was the economic impact payment, also known as the stimulus check. Right now, taxpayers are receiving notices for the advanced child tax credits. Most of the time, when the IRS sends out a notice, it could be to notify you that there were changes made to your tax account or a return that you filed. It may even be letting you know that you need to make a payment and that when it's required, how soon, and what to do if you can't make a payment yet. So the first thing that I want to talk about, if you receive a notice, don't ignore it. Most notices that you're going to receive from the IRS are going to have a very, very, very specific tax situation that they talk about. In the example that I gave earlier, if they're saying that you have a payment due, by not ignoring this, you can take action so that you can avoid unnecessary penalties and even interest in some cases if you can't pay in full. You'll also be able to not negotiate, but dispute. If you don't agree with changes that the IRS has made, or you don't agree that you actually owe something, the notice will also let you know how you can dispute this and appeal it. Because let's face it, nobody wants to pay the IRS any more money than they have to. So whenever you get a notice and you think it's not correct, you always have the right to dispute whatever the IRS is saying. Okay? The next thing, especially this year, don't throw your notice away. So you should always keep your notices, especially if you do not agree with what they say, because the IRS is made up of human beings. Human beings aren't perfect. We all make mistakes. I've had clients receive letters saying that they owed the IRS, even though we had documentation that showed that they actually paid the IRS previously. So whenever you get that notice that you don't agree with, you want to make sure that you keep it for your file. And just as good measure, whenever you make a payment electronically, you want to make sure you keep that confirmation as well for your files. Also, you can check on the IRS website, irs.gov. When you create a tax account, I'm sorry, not a tax account, but a user account to check your tax account, make sure that that payment actually went through and that it was applied. That right there will help you avoid getting notices saying that you pay, because then you can dispute the discrepancies right there. Number 3, don't panic. I know for a lot of taxpayers, when they see something coming from the IRS, their automatic feeling is heart starts pounding out of their chest, drops all the way down to your stomach. But don't panic. As a taxpayer, you have the right to negotiate any type of payment if you can't afford it, whether that being settling it for a less amount or setting up a payment plan. Again, just like the IRS is made up of human beings, so are the private debt collectors that they also contract with. Okay? So let me see. The next one. The IRS is so far behind in correspondence. So when you mail a return, don't mail one unless you absolutely have to. If you receive a notice you don't want to add to that backlog, do not respond unless it specifically tells you to. And I want to add a bonus here. Not only do you want to not respond by correspondence if it doesn't tell you to, you want to respond the exact way it tells you to. If it tells you to have part of the notice clipped and put it there in the response, you want to make sure you do that. If it tells you a specific address to send it to and who it should be titled to, you want to make sure you do that. Because the last thing you need if you were having correspondence with the IRS is for that to get lost somewhere or to be rerouted, and then it takes 3 to 6 months before they even get your response. Because in the meantime, let's say for example, they're requesting payment, okay? If you send it to the wrong address, well, you're going to start getting letters saying that you have penalties and interest building up when you actually did attempt to make the payment, you just sent it to the wrong address. Or if they are asking you for more information about your return, maybe they want some more documentation and records. If you send it to the wrong address, that's going to prolong the time, and you may even miss the window that you had to send them in that information for them to allow the deduction. So we don't want to respond unless asked to, and we want to make sure that when we do respond to correspondence, we respond in the exact way that the IRS has asked, okay? So next, and I kind of just spoke on this one in my last point. Take timely action. So this is a do. You want to make sure you do take timely action. If the IRS has given you 10 days to respond, you need to respond within 10 days. If the IRS has given you 30 days to respond, you need to respond within 30 days. What this does, it helps move the process along smoothly for everyone. And I probably shouldn't say smoothly since we're in 2021 with all the backlog, but it does make it a bit smoother for everyone. Because if you are sent a request for more documentation, you miss your window, they have the right to say that it's too late. How much would it affect you if one of your major deductions was disallowed because you didn't get that documentation in time? Right? I want you to think about that. If you have a tax balance and they're asking for a payment, even if you can't make the full payment, you still want to send something, because guess what? When that due date comes, if nothing's in there, how much are you paying in penalties and interest if you don't respond and send some type of payment? So not responding timely is very, very, very costly to you. The next thing, when you get a notice from the IRS, okay, of course, we need to open it. We need to make sure that we read it. But you have to make sure that you do review the information. Yes, the IRS is the most aggressive creditor in the country. We can all agree on that. But, like I mentioned before, the IRS is made up of human beings. They make mistakes sometimes. So whenever you get a notice saying that you owe something, you want to make sure that you review that. If they're saying you owe for a tax return, you need to review that, compare it to what you actually filed to make sure that you're not overpaying, because we never want to overpay. Now, on the flip side of that, if they're saying that you've already overpaid, you want to make sure that that matches your return. And if it doesn't, you want to make sure that you understand what the difference is, because you don't want them coming back later and saying, hey, you actually owe us money. Just because the IRS says it's so doesn't mean that it's so. I've worked with clients where the IRS said that they owed almost $100,000, and guess what? After I actually reviewed it and compared it against tax law, the client actually only owed about $40,000. So if they had not reviewed the notice that had been sent out by the IRS and then sent it over to me to look at it as well, that would have been $60,000 down the drain because they didn't review the notice. So make sure you do that one too, okay? Next, do respond to a disputed notice. So if you filed your return and the IRS is saying, hey, you said you were getting a refund of $2,000, but actually you owe us an additional $1,000, the IRS makes mistakes. You don't want to just take that as it is. You want to make sure that you're comparing that against your records, seeing what are they saying was disallowed where I actually owe them now instead of getting money back. Also, whenever they make a change to your tax account, tax return, they always give you the right to appeal it, to dispute it. You want to make sure that you dispute it in a timely manner. You typically have 30 days where you can appeal a decision made by the IRS. If you don't take advantage of that within the 30 days, you can't come back around, okay? So the next one here, this is going to be very, very, very important for 2021. I need you to remember there's usually no need to call the IRS. You may think, well, I don't want to write them or send something back because then that'll take forever. Well, guess what? Right now, the IRS is extremely understaffed. And whether you like them or not, you have to admit they're extremely overworked. Think about all of the changes that Congress has made just within the past 2 years. When we look at the economic impact payments, remember those are the stimulus payments. Look at the advanced child tax credit. We look at the adjustments that were made with the 2020 tax return where unemployment was taxable, then it wasn't. They've been hit with so many changes and trying to keep up with all that, get money sent out on time. If they're asking you to respond via letter and not telephone call, that is exactly how you need to respond. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You don't want to waste your time sitting on hold with the IRS either. Even me as a professional right now, and it's August 2021, as a professional calling the practitioner hotline, even I have to wait right now. There are some days where I've had to wait on hold for up to 2 hours before I can even speak to anybody. Don't put yourself through having to wait on hold all day and then potentially still not getting the answer you need. If you're looking for updates about stimulus checks, unemployment, refunds, you want to make sure you keep on checking irs.gov for updates. Also, create an account on irs.gov so that you can go check your own tax account each day instead of being at the grace of somebody else and waiting on hold all day. Last but not least, and you know what? I said I had 9 do's and don'ts, but these have all been do's, so my apologies. But last but not least, we have do avoid scams. Because of all the letters going out, all of the different checks and payments, scammers have been having a field day. You want to make sure that if somebody gives you a call saying that they're the IRS, you don't give them any personal information. If the IRS is calling you, that means they already have your information. Now, It's vice versa if you are calling the IRS, that will ask for your information to verify that it's you. But if you're calling the IRS, you can find their number on the website, the irs.gov website, and it ends in 1040. Otherwise, if somebody is calling you, you don't want to give them any of your personal information. Also, keep in mind that the IRS is always going to initiate contact with a letter, not a phone call. So if somebody's telling you that you're going to get thrown in jail, you need to make a payment right now, they need all your information, don't fall for it. The IRS will not call you threatening to put you in jail, telling you that you need to make a payment right now. The IRS will work with you to set up a payment arrangement. So make sure that you not only are protecting yourself, but also your loved ones. Let them know the IRS will not initiate contact with you via phone. So hopefully you never get a notice from the IRS that has bad news. But if you do, you receive that notice that you owe with an intent to put a lien on your property, or to levy your bank account, or even take wages that your employer pays you, I don't want you to panic. But what I do want you to do is book a call with me and my team. I'm going to leave a link down below in the comments, or you can go to www.bowens, which is Bowens, taxsolutions.com. Now I want you to book that no obligation tax relief evaluation. What will happen is we're going to get on the phone together and we're going to walk through your situation. We're going to talk about how much the IRS is saying that you owe. Remember, because you may not necessarily owe that amount. We're going to talk about what they say that you owe and what your financial situation is, to see if we can find something that not only will be beneficial to you, but will also satisfy your debt with the IRS, so you can put this tax debt behind you and live your life. So don't forget, 1 in 50 people owe the IRS. So would you please do me a favor? Whatever platform you're looking at this video on, be sure to like it. Make sure that you share it, because somebody in your circle is going to need it. And then hit that subscribe button so that the next time I make a video, you'll be notified and you can check it out.